This is the PlayStation 5. Alright, so let's talk about the PS5. It's not a new product by any means. It was actually released in November of last year, 5 full months ago at this point. It's been in high demand ever since, yet not a lot of people own one. There have been numerous problems in the supply chain for the PS5, from a global semiconductor shortage caused by COVID lockdowns to Sony underestimating demand. But despite the issues, Sony's PS5 sales are still outpacing the PS4 sales from its launch period in 2013. After 5 full months, I finally got my hands on one of these beauties, so let's check it out. Okay, let's start with what's in the box. This right here is the PlayStation 5. It is the version with the disc drive, not the digital edition. To be honest, I probably would have ordered the digital edition, but Best Buy didn't have any of that, so I took what I could get. So I got the version with the disc player, which is fine by me, and let's open it up. Okay, let's lay it down here. All right. A box inside a box. They want you to stand it up now. There we go. So, quick start guide. There we go. Safety guide. This right here is what everybody is talking about. The controller. A little bit of a shift in design. It's just a little bit bigger here. Let's see what it looks like side by side. All right, here we go. Yeah, that's definitely just a tad bit bigger. Or at least it feels a little bit bigger. Very nice design, feels very comfortable. That's certainly what I've been hearing from folks who've gotten their PS5s a lot sooner than this one, but yeah, it feels good. There's just a tiny bit more grip, it looks like, on the joystick. You have a PS shaped button versus a circular button with the PS logo on it. But other than that, the controls are basically the same. A little bit bigger touchpad as well. What I've heard with this particular color of controller is that it does get a little dirty, apparently. It's just kind of getting a little bit built up from the oils and dirts and stuff that are just on your skin, but that's the controller. And that's how you're mainly going to interact with your PlayStation 5, so you know it's important, and it's got to be good. But it looks pretty good. I can't wait to try it out. Okay, power. This is the USB-A to USB-C cord, and that is for your controller. And you've got a HDMI cable as well. And this one is compatible with ultra high speed, which is HDMI 2.1. So if your TV has HDMI 2.1, that'll work. That's the sort of latest and greatest. So that is great. Some future proofing built in there as well. And here's the base. Now for the main event. I'm going to tilt this sideways. Pull like that. almost as tall as I am, it's also extremely heavy. I definitely underestimated how heavy the actual console is. People have been saying online that it's heavy. I did not expect it to be quite that heavy. Nicely wrapped up here. Just carefully. There it is. They really went for something of a showpiece. A little bit of dust on it here. They wanted you to be proud to display this in your house. They obviously went for a very futuristic looking design, but at the same time, every area and every swoop has a purpose, be it for cooling and whatnot. Very futuristic design. Of course, I got the disc version, like I said. Very cool. So on the front, of course, you've got your USB-A and USB-C ports. USB-A, USB-C. You've got a power button. You've got an eject button here as well. On the back, you've got two USB-A ports, your Ethernet connection, HDMI, and your AC adapter goes right in there. So when it comes to having your PlayStation unit sit on your TV stand or what have you, you can have it vertically oriented like this, or you can have it horizontally oriented like this. So they do recommend that you use the stand no matter which orientation that you're in. So let's see what it looks like in the vertical orientation here. So now I can, in fact, stand it just like that. Now I can place the unit in a horizontal fashion. It does kind of move around a little bit, so not meant to be, played around with too much, but at the same time, it's not going anywhere. So there you have it. That's the unboxing of the PlayStation 5. Obviously, I am super pumped to have this. Very, very excited to get started with this. You know, the beautiful thing about this is it's totally spec'd out, and it can do, 4K gaming. I even saw in the box here, it says 8K on it. That's incredible. So at some point, I guess it can do 8K, and that's incredible. But here's the thing. The TV that I'm hooking this up to is 1080p. So, I'm sure that the 4K, the 8K, and all that stuff is phenomenal, but we're going to be playing at 1080p with this bad boy for the time being. In all seriousness, we do have a 4K TV up in our bonus room, but it's by the kids' toys and stuff like that. I don't really want to be placing this on a shelf with all my kids' toys and stuff like that and getting wrecked. So it's going to go into the basement TV, and that's 1080p. The TV is probably about 10 years old now, so it's a very good LG TV, but it's a little bit older, unfortunately. So maybe later on this year, I'll be reviewing a 4K TV so that I can play in 4K on my TV. But for now, 1080p will have to do.
The PS5 has impressive hardware that is definitely a generation better than the PS4. The PS5 has an 8-core 3.5 GHz AMD Zen 2 processor with an AMD RDNA 2 GPU capable of 10.3 teraflops of computing power. It's got 16 gigabytes of memory and an 825 gigabyte SSD. Technically, if you're comparing against the Xbox Series X, Microsoft's latest and greatest console, the PS5 falls short in terms of GPU performance as well as storage. Of course, that doesn't tell the full story in performance, but it's an interesting thing to note. Speaking of storage, you can expand your PS5 storage with an external drive. Well, sort of. Currently, PlayStation does support external drives, but only for PS4 games. In the future, the PS5 has an NVMe SSD slot, so you'll actually be able to expand the internal storage of this system. And you'll be able to do so by a pretty significant amount. You could potentially buy an SSD drive of 1 terabytes or 2 terabytes, which is pretty great. That said, Sony hasn't yet validated any particular drives for use with the PS5, so we'll just have to wait until later this year for more information. Along with impressive hardware that makes up the console, the PS5 also has a pretty advanced controller. These controllers increase your immersion through new features like adaptive triggers. They're basically pressure-sensitive triggers allowing for more control, and integrated pressure-sensitive touchpad, a create button to easily export your gameplay media, and a built-in mic, which is actually not the most hygienic thing when you let your 3-year-old use the controller, and one of the game mechanics is to blow into the microphone. So that's been an interesting experience. And haptic feedback, which physically responds to your gameplay. Playing around in the included tech demo, Astro's Playroom, really gives you an appreciation for these features. The sensation the controller creates for skating was definitely surprising the first time I experienced it. If you want to get an additional controller, it'll set you back about $90. Although it's pretty advanced tech, it actually seems like a pretty reasonable price. There are 255 games that are either available or planned for the PlayStation 5. That said, the list of games coming is much longer than the list of games that is currently available. There were about 30 titles or so on launch date. The big launch title everyone was talking about was Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, especially because it takes advantage of all the GPU can offer, including advanced ray tracing for vividly real reflections and light refraction. However, I haven't yet tried any of the blockbuster titles. The big hit in my family has been Astro's Playroom, a super fun platformer game that is fun for all ages. Like I mentioned a moment ago, technically it's meant to be somewhat of a tech demo for how the controller works with all its cool features, though it does double as a full game with 4 worlds and 16 different levels to complete. While we've all enjoyed it tremendously, my wife, who is newer to gaming, has appreciated it as an opportunity to improve her controller skills in a fun and motivating way. My 3-year-old has been so proud of how he's learned to master new skills. It's kind of the perfect game for a young player because although there's plenty of bad guys that can get you, you reload into your last save point quickly and you never see a game over screen. Our little guy is pretty good at getting Astro around, defeating bad guys, and finding coins. He does hand the controller off when he's up against something really tricky, but he quickly asks for it back. It's also been a great adventure and kind of a nostalgic experience because throughout the game you go along collecting artifacts, which are digital renders of PlayStation hardware and accessories from the past. There's over 100 collectible items in total. We've also been playing the Spyro Reignited trilogy as a family, and that's been great too. And since Spyro is a PS4 game, our son's smaller controller works with it, which he loves. Hopefully they'll bring out a compatible PS5 controller for smaller hands too. Beyond that, I am more of a casual gamer. I like games that I can quickly pick up and play for anywhere from 30 minutes to several hours. Some of my favorites are Rocket League, NHL 21, and Fall Guys. And I've even tried my hand at Battle Royale games like Fortnite and Warzone, but there's some seriously skilled players facing off, and I usually just can't compete, leading me to switch them off pretty quickly. I'm looking forward to trying out more PS5 games as they come along. I'm excited for some games like It Takes Two, a cooperative platformer that just came out in March, as well as future titles like Project 007 and Hogwarts Legacy, because well, it's Harry Potter. The PS5 is tough to get your hands on. Despite the setbacks Sony has faced trying to get it out to gamers, supply issues are slowly getting resolved and they are getting easier to find. If you don't want to wait until supply catches up with demand, you can follow at BBY Canada Gamers, Best Buy's official gaming Twitter account. Essentially, they tweet as soon as PlayStation is in stock. If you set up notifications on their tweets, you should get that notification as soon as they send it out. You have to be fast. You pretty much need to order within 10 minutes. And this is how I got mine. I didn't like the idea of trying multiple websites online and clicking refresh a million times. It just seemed like a hassle. I was more than content to just wait until I could walk into a store and buy it off the shelf. But I happened to get super lucky and it just worked out that I was able to log in and order it on my first try, which is great. So what's the bottom line? Well, this isn't the most detailed review, but I will say if there's some specific PS5 titles that you are wanting to play, you should get the PS5 as soon as you can because yeah, it's cool. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't enjoying it. But if you're a casual gamer with no burning desire to get started on a PS5 specific title that's already been released, it's definitely fine to wait for supply to catch up with demand. The PS5 is definitely beefed up when it compares to the PS4, and PS5 games do offer more immersive gameplay. But the jump in graphics quality isn't as big as it was between the PS1 to PS2, PS2 to PS3, or the PS3 to PS4. The PS4 still offers amazing high quality games as well. So while you're waiting to get your hands on a PS5, let me know in the comments, what's your favorite PS4 game? Or which game are you looking forward to most on the PS5? And if you already have a PlayStation 5, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments as well about how it's been so far. Thanks for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it, click that like button so more people can discover the video, and click subscribe for more Technology Paul. I post new videos every single Friday. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next one.